The Star Wars galaxy is filled with deadly hunters who live by the highest stakes and the sharpest skills. But not all bounty hunters are built the same. Some rely on brute force, others on cunning or technology. Let's start with a master marksman whose precision and agility make her a surgical force in a universe of war machines and warriors. Meet the sniper who proves that sometimes brains and reflexes trump armor. Fennec Shand is the ultimate sniper assassin in a galaxy filled with brawny Mandalorians and unstoppable droid hunters. But she doesn't rely on heavy armor or brute force. She's all about precision, agility, and cold, calculated kills. Operative in the early Empire era through the chaotic New Republic times, Shand earned her reputation running contracts for the galaxy's top crime syndicates, including the Hutts. She's the kind of hunter you don't see coming until the laser beam nails you square in the head. Before you picture some glorified gun for hire in sleek armor, hear me out. Fennec Shand survives and thrives without full-powered armor or massive firepower, unlike many of her rivals. Official lore and on-screen appearances show her as a master marksman who takes down targets surgically, blending stealth and patience with deadly skill. In The Mandalorian, she shows off her sharpshooting by setting up a sniping position in rocky terrain, picking off foes from a distance while staying concealed. Her arsenal leans heavily on a long-range blaster rifle and swift sidearms, favoring speed and stealth over bulky gadgets or brute strength. She's less a walking tank, more a ghost in the shadows. What really sets her apart is the cybernetic enhancement she received after a near-fatal injury. Instead of losing her edge, Fennec upgraded with mechanical implants, vital organs replaced or reinforced, making her tougher without sacrificing agility. It's survival through smart tech, not muscle or armor plating. Her long career is marked by high-value contracts in a brutal trade, and despite not having the flashy gadgetry of droids or Mandalorians, she holds her own as an elite mercenary. Her alliance with Boba Fett later on as his chief enforcer tells you everything you need to know. If a legend like Fett trusts you, you're deadly. Here's the thing, while everyone else piles on armor and firepower, Fennec's method proves that in a world of super soldiers and killer machines, skill and sharp aim cut just as deep. She's the sniper who makes you rethink the whole tech equals power myth. But if you think surviving as a human assassin without powered armor is impressive, wait until you meet the next hunter, IG-88, a relentless killing machine with zero mercy and maximum firepower. IG-88 isn't just your average hunter with a blaster. It's a walking death machine built for one purpose: ruthless, efficient elimination of targets without hesitation. This IG series assassin droid rewrites what deadly means by removing every organic weakness like fatigue, fear, or doubt. Equipped with integrated heavy weapons, 360-degree vision, and a frame that can soak up punishment, IG-88 operates with cold, calculating precision no flesh and blood bounty hunter can match. Before you roll your eyes and say, "It's just a dumb robot," hear me out. IG-88's design is lethal on multiple levels. Its chassis bristles with repeating blasters, sonic stun vests, paralysis cords, and grenades set to fire in all directions. That 360-degree sensor system lets it spin faster than any opponent can track attacks from blind spots. Unlike organic hunters, IG-88 never tires or panics, processing combat with lightning-fast calculations. It's basically a perfect killing algorithm given form. Official Star Wars canon marks IG series droids as outlawed weapons precisely because they're too dangerous. Tools of death wielded by crime syndicates and rogue Imperial forces who want plausible deniability. The cold efficiency is backed by game files and databank entries showing autonomous decision-making and adaptability. IG-88's appearance on Darth Vader's Star Destroyer in The Empire Strikes Back signals this lethal reputation was well known, enough to recruit one of the galaxy's deadliest machines to track resistance fighters. Legends material takes the story darker. IG-88 wasn't just one droid, but 4 identical units who led a droid revolt on Maechus III, seized control of factories, and nearly hijacked the Death Star R2's entire command system. Talk about next-level threats. This escalates IG-88 from scary bounty hunter to potential galactic apocalypse in the shadows. Sadly, none of that hijack storyline is confirmed canon, but the implications remain. IG-88 didn't just want bounties, it aimed to replace the galaxy's organic rulers altogether. Here's the thing, those legendary feats may be shaky canon, but IG-88's core lethality as a fully autonomous, heavily armed assassin droid is rock solid. It shows a bounty hunting style stripped of emotion and optimized purely for killing. That terrifying mix of technology and independence is unique among hunters, hinting at a robotic uprising long ignored by the galaxy. But if you think a calculating droid is cold and clinical, wait until you meet Bossk, whose violent instincts come from a predator species bred to kill. Bossk is a literal definition of a predator born to hunt. As a Trandoshan, his entire physiology gives him a natural edge in violent pursuit. Thick, scaly armor-like skin that's basically built-in protection, regeneration that lets him shrug off injuries most beings wouldn't survive, and senses tuned to track prey over vast distances. He's not just a bounty hunter, he's a living weapon crafted by evolution and tribal tradition to hunt the galaxy's toughest game. Before you write him off as just another lizard guy, hear me out. Bossk is famous in both canon and legends for specializing in hunting Wookiees, the galaxy's equivalent equivalent of professional strongmen who can rip droids apart with their bare hands. That's like being known as the guy who hunts the grizzly bears of Star Wars and wins. It tells you exactly how ruthless and skilled he is. He entered the bounty hunting scene during the Clone Wars, rubbing shoulders and sometimes clashing with other deadly hunters like Aurra Sing and a young Boba Fett. His reputation only grew through the Galactic Civil War era, where the Empire trusted him enough to send him on their most critical hunts. Gear-wise, Bossk keeps it straightforward, but devastating. His primary weapon is a Relby V10 micro-grenade launcher, which fires explosive rounds that add a punch to his relentless close-quarters instincts. Unlike heavily armored Mandalorians or tech-loaded assassins, Bossk relies heavily on his biological gifts, his skin acting as armor, rapid regeneration, and turning minor wounds into mere inconveniences, and an uncanny ability to track and ambush prey with almost animal-like cunning. Imagine a hunter who can take a blaster bolt to the face, keep going, and still come out on top because he's wired to survive. He's the nightmare for any Wookiee and one of the most feared mercenaries around, even if he doesn't get as much screen time as some other hunters. Bossk embodies the brutal, primal face of bounty hunting, where biology, tribal vendettas, and years of war-hardened experience forge someone who lives to hunt and kills without hesitation. But if you think Bossk's intimidating, wait until you meet Black Krrsantan, the Wookiee gladiator turned bounty hunter, whose brutality could give Bossk a run for his money. Black Krrsantan. Black Krrsantan is basically Chewbacca's darker, meaner cousin. If Chewbacca had chosen gladiator pits and merc work over heroics, he's a massive, black-furred Wookiee, marked with scars that map out every brutal fight he's survived. But here's the kicker. His deadly skills weren't just natural talent. They were hammered out in the brutal environment of gladiator combat. Before you dismiss this as typical backstory fluff, hear me out. Unlike most Wookiees who rely on raw strength, Krrsantan's past is soaked in relentless pain and cybernetic upgrades. Captured from Kashyyyk by the Zonti brothers, he was forced into deadly gladiator fights, where he was modified with implants and rail spikes that made him nearly unstoppable in close combat. This is why his fighting style is so distinctive. No sneaking or long-range shots for Krrsantan. He dives headfirst into the fray, smashing enemies with brutal efficiency while wielding his iconic bowcaster. His work history reads like a who's who of galactic badasses. Jabba the Hutt employed him, which is already no small feat. Boba Fett even calls him one of Jabba's best bounty hunters, which is high praise considering Jabba's stable of deadly mercenaries. But that's not all. Darth Vader personally hired Krrsantan for a mission to hunt down an Imperial traitor, which means if Vader trusts you, you're playing in the major leagues. On screen and in the comics, Krrsantan's ferocity is jaw-droppingly savage. He tanks blaster bolts that would cripple most, throws enemies around like ragdolls, and fights with a mix of Wookiee rage and gladiator discipline. His battle scars and dark fur are badges of the brutal life he's lived in gladiatorial arenas and galactic underworlds. Here's where it gets interesting. Black Krrsantan's raw, savage power clashes with the tech-heavy tactics most bounty hunters use. He's muscle and menace personified, augmented but still deeply rooted in physical combat. Yet he's adaptable, thriving from the Empire's reign through the New Republic era, navigating crime syndicates and Sith politics with ease. Sure, much of his story plays out in comics and tie-ins, so not everyone knows him fully, but even the core lore makes it clear. When it comes to bounties, raw strength and brutal skill remain a dangerous mix. If you think a scarred Wookiee gladiator is the ultimate bounty hunter, wait until you see the Mandalorian who changed the game, Din Djarin. Din Djarin is the modern Mandalorian legend who redefines what a bounty hunter looks like in the New Republic era. Clad in nearly impenetrable Beskar armor and armed with a high-tech arsenal, he combines mercenary ruthlessness with a strong personal code of honor. He's not just a hired gun, he's a protector, especially of Grogu, making him unique in the lethal world of bounty hunting. Before you dismiss him as just the guy from the show, hear me out. Din's tactical adaptability is impressive. He switches seamlessly between long-range sniper precision with his Amban phase pulse rifle and brutal melee combat with the iconic Darksaber. Whether picking off enemies from a distance or fighting close range, his skill set is extensive and deadly. On screen, Din takes on entire camps of hostile aliens, fights through fortified Imperial outposts, and regularly faces troopers armed with cutting-edge tech, all without his armor suffering more than minor dents. His Beskar helmet and plating aren't just for show. Canon makes it clear they resist direct blaster fire and even limited lightsaber strikes. That durability alone changes the game in a world full of explosions and laser blasts. What sets Din apart is his resilience. He survives crashes that should have killed him, escapes overwhelming odds, and keeps coming back stronger. His victories don't rely on luck. They stem from intense training, battlefield savvy, and a sharp instinct for when to fight or vanish. Even Imperial remnants and mercenaries respect Mandalorian because it carries a reputation of near-mythical toughness. Then there's his personal code. Unlike many bounty hunters chasing cold profit, Din follows the Mandalorian creed strictly, protecting Grogu at great risk. This blend of ruthless efficiency and paternal care is rare, mixing lethal professionalism with relatable humanity. The canon confirms Din's gear isn't gimmicks. The Amban sniper disintegrates targets, the whistling birds are guided micro-missiles, and the Darksaber is both symbolic slick and deadly. His custom-built Beskar armor is forged across Mandalore, emphasizing advanced tech and battlefield effectiveness. In bounty hunter lore, Din Djarin embodies a new era, honoring old traditions, but adding morals and modern flair. He's not just surviving, he's dominating, becoming a feared mercenary with a legend still growing. But if you think a Mandalorian with fancy armor is intimidating, wait until you hear about Cad Bane, the Clone Wars' deadliest Jedi hunter, whose ruthlessness makes Din's feats look measured. Cad Bane doesn't just show up to bounty hunting jobs, he redefines the game. As a Duros, he's a master of cold calculation, but what makes him truly lethal is his relentless specialization, hunting Jedi. During the Clone Wars, when most bounty hunters wisely avoided these Force wielders, Bane leaned in hard, turning his lack of supernatural powers into an edge through sheer cunning and advanced technology. Before you think this guy is just some blaster-toting merc, hear me out. Cad Bane arms himself with dual blaster pistols that spit death with deadly precision, rocket boots for lightning-fast mobility, and gadgets designed to counter Jedi like stun gauntlets and anti-lightsaber gear. He basically turned the Jedi's usual advantages against them, using smoke bombs, grappling hooks, and psychological tactics to disrupt their concentration and mobility. It's like watching a chess grandmaster playing against an opponent who's 3 moves ahead, but only using pawns. Official canon isn't shy about Bane's pedigree. He infiltrates the Jedi Temple itself, not once, but multiple times, dodging detection in one of the most heavily guarded places in the galaxy. He kidnaps Force-sensitive children under the noses of the Republic and Jedi Knights, even holding Jedi hostage to gain leverage. These aren't small-time hits. These are high-stakes, high-risk operations requiring meticulous planning and nerves of steel. In combat, Bane holds his own against some of the greatest Jedi of the Clone Wars. He's gone toe-to-toe with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, surviving gunfights and lightsaber duels without the Force. In one iconic scene, Bane nearly shoots Obi-Wan in the chest from close range before a last-second intervention saves the Jedi, all with nothing but his gadgets, skill, and grit. No supernatural backup, just pure merc skill. But here's where it gets weirdly fascinating. Despite being a non-Force user, Bane's strategic mind and arsenal made him the Jedi's nightmare. Their powers meant little when smoke, traps, and well-timed explosives wrecked their focus. And psychologically, Bane's cold, merciless persona was designed to unnerve even the most disciplined Jedi. He'd bluff, bait, and outthink, always ending encounters on his own terms, or disappearing with the prize before things went south. Developer choices clearly leaned into making Cad Bane the deadliest Clone Wars era bounty hunter, the shadow left by Jango Fett's passing. His custom tech, cold efficiency, and Jedi dueling skills set a new standard. Fans still debate if he could have beaten Boba Fett in a pure showdown, but there's no arguing Bane earned his reputation as the Clone Wars' ultimate hunter without a single drop of Force sensitivity. If you think facing one legendary hunter who outguns Jedi is impressive, wait until you meet the original prototype who built the foundation, Jango Fett. Jango Fett isn't just another bounty hunter. He's the origin story for one of the deadliest armies the galaxy has ever seen. The man behind the Republic's unstoppable clone troopers, Jango's skill and DNA literally shaped thousands of soldiers destined for war. And he wasn't just chosen for his genes by accident. Before you think Jango was just a pretty face with fancy armor, hear me out. This guy was a walking arsenal wrapped in Mandalorian armor, loaded with some of the deadliest tools imaginable. Twin West R-34 blasters? Check. Jetpack for aerial advantage? Check. Wrist flamethrowers, grappling darts, and all the gadgetry you'd expect from a top-tier hunter. Absolutely. He was a one-man army in sleek armor. Officially, he's the genetic template for the entire Grand Army of the Republic. Millions of clone troopers made using his DNA, thanks to the Sith Lord's plan to build the perfect fighting force. But there's more to it than just genetics. Jango was picked because his physical and tactical abilities were off the charts. And those abilities aren't just hype. On Coruscant, he assassinated Zam Wesell with ruthless efficiency, showing pinpoint marksmanship and cold executions. Then there's that brutal showdown with Obi-Wan Kenobi. This wasn't some easy stroll in the ring. Jango held his own in a high-stakes fight against one of the Jedi Order's finest, using every trick in his arsenal to go blow for blow. The fact that he lasted as long as he did against a Jedi with a lightsaber in the Force proves just how lethal he was. His combat style combined exceptional marksmanship with expert hand-to-hand. He wasn't just a shooter, he was a fighter who could handle close combat against some of the galaxy's deadliest warriors. Being able to duel a Jedi and then fight against Jedi in the Battle of Geonosis, where he took down multiple Jedi before being taken out, is a testament to his elite status. The canon leaves no doubt Jango was the ultimate bounty hunter of his time, capable of outgunning assassins and dodging some of the galaxy's most dangerous peacekeepers. Plus, his armor wasn't just for show. The Mandalorian design gave him heavy protection without sacrificing agility, making him a nightmare to pin down or take out. But here's where it gets wild. His DNA didn't just create soldiers, it created Boba Fett, his unaltered clone and son, who carries on the legacy with even more layers of deadly reputation. So when you're thinking about Jango, you're not just looking at an individual warrior, you're looking at the the foundation of an army and an entire legacy of killers. Jango Fett embodies the perfect storm of skill, tech, and legacy-driven impact. One hunter's talents not only earned him the title Most Feared, but also rewrote galactic warfare forever. If you think that's impressive, just wait until we break down the man who took Jango's legacy and made it legendary, Boba Fett. Boba Fett isn't just a bounty hunter, he's a legend who outlived gods and kings. An unaltered clone of Jango Fett, Boba's story spans the fall of the Republic, the rise of the Empire, and the shaky early days of the New Republic. If you think surviving the galaxy's deadliest eras was luck, wait until you hear what he actually did. Before you dismiss Boba as just Jango's kid, hear me out. His career is a masterclass in evolution and survival. He didn't just inherit Mandalorian armor, he upgraded it relentlessly. Over decades, Fett's gear included advanced Beskar plating, a jetpack with a rocket missile, wrist flamethrowers, an EE-3 carbine rifle known for rapid fire, and a stack of concealed gadgets that would make Bond jealous. But the gear only tells half the story. His legendary feats cemented his reputation. Who else captured Han Solo frozen in carbonite and hand-delivered him to Jabba, the Hutt's palace? That act made him the hunter who could do what countless others failed at. But Boba's rep isn't built on one big win. He survived what should have been a fatal dip in the Sarlacc pit. Not just survived, escaped, and came back. In some stories, that's where his rise to crime lord begins, taking over Jabba's empire on Tatooine and ruling it with cold calculation. Boba Fett isn't just a hired gun, he becomes a major power player in the galaxy's harshest underworld. His legacy blends myth, skill, gear, and longevity like no other bounty hunter. Legends don't survive decades amid shifting galactic powers, but Boba did, adapting to new threats and tech without losing his lethal edge. Both canon and legends back this, stacking credentials proving why he's the ultimate hunter. Boba's Mandalorian armor isn't one-off, it's multiple generations of gear, showing improvements and battle scars from countless firefights. His gadgets aren't toys, they're tools of death. The jetpack missile lets him end fights before they start. Wrist flamethrowers roast enemies up close. The EE-3 carbine fires faster than almost any blaster in the galaxy, making him deadly both near and far. What sets Boba apart is surviving the impossible, getting scooped out of the Sarlacc, returning from near certain death, and moving beyond bounty hunting to become a ruler puts him in a category alone. Few blend merciless hunter and cold strategist like he does. And don't forget the subtle hints across media that Boba's more than muscle. The aura of mystery, shadowy alliances, quiet glances, all show a man who knows the game far beyond pulling triggers. His contacts range from Imperial officers to Hutt crime lords, revealing a network built on fear, respect, and unshakable credibility. Here's the thing, Boba Fett's journey spans 3 galactic eras and endless battles. He evolved while others burned out or died. His survival wasn't luck, it was precise skill, relentless gear upgrades, shrewd alliances, and a name that strikes instant fear in any client or target. So if you thought Boba Fett was just a cool helmet with a jetpack, you've missed the bigger picture. He's the apex predator of bounty hunting, whose name still echoes through the cosmos as the ultimate symbol of deadliness. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, click the video on the screen now.